Hey guys, welcome back to Big Lake Hot Rods. We are on scene today to where cars come to die and go to the big crusher in the sky. But I came in here to get some 373 gears and a limited slip diff for my 8.8 build, and I happened to run across a 6-liter and an 05 Cadillac Escalade, and it is the most complete 6.0 motor I've ever seen in the junkyard, which is wild that it's in the wild. No pun intended, because they're not easy to get in the junkyard especially. And I've been here for 3 days. I had priorities to get what I needed to get, so on the last day I just kind of took a look in here and found what I've been looking for, and I'm telling you, it's complete. It's pretty greasy and it doesn't look like anybody's been here, so let's see what we can come up with. So it's like I said, it's pretty greasy and nasty, but it looks like it's OE. There's no mismatched bolts, parts. There's worm gear clamps that are different, but other than that, everything looks like it's factory. I took the air box off already. I'm gonna take the front dress off and see if I can see the stamping down there on the block, but it's got 317 heads on it. So those are LQ9 truck heads. So things are looking good. It's even got new spark plug wires on it. So I mean, computer's still here, so we'll have to do some work with that and rewire it and all that good stuff standalone. But I'm pretty excited about this. So nobody's hacked into the wires or nothing like that. So we're gonna snatch this bad boy out, and we're gonna see what we can come up with it. Like I said, I'm gonna get the front dress off. That'll save me some cash. I just want the block and stuff like that. So wish me luck. I just came off a night, so I'm kicking myself in the ass for doing this to myself, but this is what you got to do to get these things. You got to be out here first, because I know this will not be here much longer, at least not as a complete engine. Somebody will scavenge parts off of it and then ruin the rest. So there is a Tahoe or a Yukon beside it, so I can get some pieces and parts off of that if I need to make this one more complete. But we're going to get into it and get this out of here today. So I got a couple hours and it should be able to come right out. So let's see what we come up with. Buddy, I've been here, save for the rear end and stuff. This is the 4th day in a row, and the motor is finally free. I just got here. They actually open at 8 on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which I don't know why it's hotter than hell at 9 o'clock when they open during the week. But anyway, motor just popped out, literally. So I'm more than happy. I'm whooped. I'm gonna go home, put this in the trunk, go home, and just go to bed for as long as I want, because I'm off tonight. So anyway, I got all the wiring. I hid all the other crap in this truck beside me. So yeah, we're good. We're gold. 6.0, baby. It's gonna need a rebuild because she is a nasty pig. She's been leaking fluid from every orifice you can think. I did see on the back there's a plug that shows, it's kind of like a warranty marker. I guess it melts off or whatever when it gets overheated. So I know this is a remanufactured engine, which could or could not be in my favor. I don't know how they, I don't know how that works. It looks like it's been in here a minute, so it's probably got a lot of miles on it. But still gonna go through it. I'm gonna pull everything apart, check like I did the other one. So I may not replace the bearings, but I'm gonna pull a cap and check it and make sure, make sure the bearings are in good shape. So anyway, we gotta get this thing out of here and get on the road. So stick around. I had a little audio issue with my microphone here, but I just wanted to show what we got. We brought home. The whole point of going to the scrapyard was to search for some axles and gearing for the correct ratio. I wanted to go with a 373, and I happened to run across an Explorer that had 31 spline axles, the right gear set, and even had a limited slip diff in it. So I went ahead and snagged all that, got everything I need to swap into my housing. Later on, I will run into a problem that I had to come up with a solution for, because I wasn't going to spend a ton of extra money on extra parts and pieces that I already have, just in order to do an axle swap. So kind of found a solution for that, and I'll get into that later on in the video. Also got the 6.0 home, brought that in, got that on a stand. I'm probably not going to mess with that too much right away, because I've got a lot of other things to do, and I don't necessarily have the budget to rebuild that engine right now. I do have the other engine sold, so once I get the money for that, then I'll dump that money into the 6-liter, and we'll be back to square as far as where we're at with all the parts and pieces that I have for the car. Also got the 6.0 engine on the stand. She's a pretty nasty engine. A lot of leaks. Got a lot of work to do to get that cleaned back up, and a lot of inspection. And I want to go through and obviously going to reseal it, and we'll swap all my new parts from the 5.3 that I got in the car. We'll go ahead and put all that on that engine there, and we'll get that swapped in there soon. I hope I'll get that other engine sold, and we'll put all the money into that from that engine into this engine, and we'll be back to square. So pretty good little jump on it. Got a lot of parts and pieces ready to go. We'll keep messing with it, and we'll get some stuff going here shortly. I also picked up this front drive shaft from a Bravada. It was a little newer Bravada, and later on I'm going to discover that won't even work. The U-joints on the end are a little bigger than the flange that are on the transfer case, so this is not going to work. I do have a kind of an idea where I want to go with it, but I'm going to have to go to a local drive shaft shop and just talk to him and see what he can come up with and help me figure out for this problem. I thought really I had a solution there, and I was really looking forward to that just plopping in, but nothing on this car is bolting in, so it is what it is. We'll figure it out. One other thing I want to visit, and I may not get to it in this video, I want to go through the front end, and I want to mock up out of cardboard a spoiler. I was watching a couple of videos of Mustang restorations, like the 69 to 70. They had a really strong chin spoiler on them, and I really like that look. And I just feel like the front of the car is a little bit too plain. I'm not 100% sure I like the idea, but I'm going to mock up a not necessarily a big bulky one, but just a simple little spoiler on the front end, and I want to try to see if that'll give me the clues that I'm looking for to kind of get a visual on it and see if that's something I want to go with or not. I'm also going to build an air box down there for the air tube to run down in, and actually put a square filter in there and get rid of that kind of cheap cone filter. Kind of want to figure out a way to, it's going to be a low box, so I want to make sure the the portion where the air comes in is up high enough so that if I do hit a decent puddle of water, it won't flood the air intake system, and I'll try to draw some air from that front lower chin area and draw that into the box. Sort of kind of like a modern car where, it has the box over there in the corner, and then it draws air from another portion of that, kind of a higher spot. So I just I'm going to come up with something, and it may take me a couple of times to come up with it. I got to go locate a smaller square filter to put in there to something that'll fit. But overall, I think that's a better way to go with it, rather than just stick that cone filter down in there and not have any kind of blockage or any kind of a cover for it, for the tire to throw rocks and dirt all over it. So just something to think about, and I'll be working on that in the future. All right, so yesterday I was videoing, and apparently I wasn't videoing, so we got all this work done and didn't really get any of the video. So magic. It's anyway, I went ahead and put the differential together, put the gear set in there, and changed out the pinion. And what I did is took a piece of round stock and stuck in there, and went into the crossbar that goes across the two spider gears, and I measured out to that wiper seal on that end seal of the axle there, and got me a measurement. And I found through the magic of the internet that you can buy, or you can have your axles cut down. I wasn't thinking about C-clip axles. Just not very many people will cut them, if any at all, to be honest. So I called yesterday and talked to their Dutchman axles. They've been around for a while, and I've heard of them before, but no one else offers a service to cut them and respline them. There's got to be certain criteria to it. You have to worry about your spline, your taper on your axle. A lot of axles are tapered to where this part is not as big as the part that the spline is on. And so I measured this, and it's like 20 or 25, 30 thousandths bigger here. So this can be machined down to this diameter, and they'll recut your splines in that area where you want it, and apparently they'll redo this piece here. I guess you call that the button for your C-clip. I had no idea you could do that, which is great because it's going to save me a ton of money on some axles, because custom axles are not cheap. And if I go with custom axles, now I've got to change my brakes out. So we went down a big rabbit hole with working on this thing yesterday. I had all the rear end apart, and I've got a Crown Vic 8.8, which, lo and behold, is different than a Mustang 8.8. I do not know why Ford would decide to change the end of the axle. I'll tell you what the difference is. The way this pattern here, the end cap of the axle, I guess you'll call it, this is oriented this way. And these bolts are splayed out a little bit different. They're a little bit wider at the top than they are at the bottom down this way. So that's the difference between a Mustang axle and a Crown Vic axle. So if you want to narrow a Crown Vic axle more than just, your standard use two short side axles, you're going to be in a world of hurt. So just, I don't know if you want to just go with resplining your axles if people trust that, or redo everything. You have to go with 9-inch end caps, new disc brakes, new calipers, new rotors, and I've got all that crap. Why would I want to buy it all again? And so that's the direction I went. I'm going to go ahead and get my axles cut down, and we're going to we'll install them. So like I said, that's why I was showing. The first thing I did was measure, and I transferred that measurement from, they wanted the measurement here on the face of the axle to the length I want. So I changed that to taking into account for that extra length. So now the only thing I need to complete the drive line is the axles and drive shafts. And I'm working on drive shafts now. So it's just all, money. And right now I'm tapped for the budget for the car. So got to wait and build that back up, which it is what it is. That's how it works. But we got a lot to do. We got a lot of parts to work with. I could go through this engine. I got the wiring harness that I need to go back through. I wanted to work on the air box. I've got a solution for tag lights, which might sound simple, but I'm going to buy a little bolt kit that has a light built into it. That way I just bolt the tag together and the light shines on the tag. Bada bing, no holes, nothing like that. No modifications needed to install some tag lights. Little things like that will hold you up, and you just don't think about it until you get to it, and you're like, well, damn it, I need tag lights, because Johnny Law will not like that. Ask me how I know. Anyway, we're going to get something done today, and I hope I can get it filming something decent, because I need to put a video out, because I haven't done so in a while. All right, so I'm going to show a before of this mess. It's really not as messy as you think. A lot of these already have terminations, so you just got to kind of lay it out and find out where you want to put it. Now, this is the 6.0 harness, 04 and up, I believe, because it's got the blue and green connector on it. So we'll go from there. I've got to rewire it and relay out the engine harness because it changes. I think the timing wheel, the reluctor wheel inside the cam changed for 04 and up. So up to a certain year, I have no idea. But it's different than my 02 harness. So I've basically got to start from scratch from the fuse box to the engine. But it's not really that big a deal. I've got a lot of instructions on how to do it. I'm going to depin the terminations there, strip all this, clean it, get rid of what I don't want, and keep what I need. Most of this is going to go away. So engine, building a standalone harness, and I'm using lt1swap.com because that Brandon guy is super helpful and very knowledgeable, and he's done it since it looks like the start of LS stuff. So it's really helpful, and every pin he knows what every pin does, and he's got a list. So I got to get my piece of paper, and we'll go through here and depin and make this harness stand alone. So bear with me. It is another step back, but it is a necessary step when I want to swap engines. I'm glad I'm doing it now, because if I'd have done it and waited and finished the car and didn't realize I needed to change so much, I would probably not do it. And, it happens. I'll go ahead and do it. Like I said, I'd rather go ahead and do it now. So let's get started on this. It won't take but the rest of the damn day, and it's going to be aggravating, but it's kind of greasy and oily. So as I go, I'm gonna clean and check and all the things you're supposed to do when you build a harness. So let's get to it. All right, we got her thinned down really good. We got this harness down to the bare bones. Using my list here from LT1 Swap. Super, super helpful. If you're doing this, read it. If it's your first time, if it's your third time, your sixth time, reread it. It really does help. I had to go to the 04 and up to 06 harness, so all this few little things changed. Not really as much as I thought, because I'm not doing what as far as a standalone harness and using this factory fuse block. I'm going to separate it out. So, same switch power and same constant power. I've got to do a few splices to get my OBD connector back in, and we're on the way. I'm going to have to change my fuel injector plugs out because I'm using LS1 style injectors, and I'm going to go ahead and send the computer off and get that flash so it'll be ready to go. Got to make a repair here for the starter. A few little nitpicking things, but overall this harness is in really good shape, and it's super duper thinned down to, like I said, bare bones, just what I need. I did manage to keep the relay here for the cooling fans. Luckily this is an addition, so if you want to go to the scrapyard and get this out, you only need to cut 2 wires and the rest will actually pull out. This is for the computer to activate these relays, which is, it can be used for anything. Pull a lot of power with that. You can rewire it and make it work. So we'll be redoing that part of the harness, and this is all the scrap that's left over, plus all the loom and junk off the tape off the harness. So, yeah. Now I got to get this in the car, and tomorrow I'll work on that and go ahead and get ready to pull this engine out of the car. I'm going to rewire it and make sure everything lands correctly and reaches, and get ready to pull that out and wire it, so that when I have this one ready to go and rebuilt, I can plop it in there and get it wired up. I may go ahead tomorrow as well, pull the engine. You know what? I don't know. I probably won't do that. I don't have any more room for any engines. I don't have any more engine stands. So we'll figure something out. Well, we got a plan, at least for wiring. We'll go ahead and do that, and we'll start from there. Appreciate you guys watching. Y'all stick around for more action. So appreciate y'all. We'll see you next time. So appreciate y'all checking it out, and we'll keep after it. Successfully created a very big mess. What looked like not quite chaotic has turned into chaotic. It's not as bad as it looks. All that coming out of there is all engine stuff, so it's going to go through the hole in the floor out to the engine. I had to pull it all back out because I changed the harness, and there were a few differences. A few wires were in different locations, so I think for the most part it was a good idea to go ahead and swap it out. Now it's an 05 harness, still standalone, tack module, a few other little things, wire locations changed, but for the most part it was pretty much the same. It's kind of 50-50 if I should have done it or should have just repinned. It's aggravating enough to redo it, so repinning I probably would have lost my mind. I'm on the verge of that now, but that's what wiring will do for you. Anyway, the next step is to swap we'll go ahead and get the engine built. That in there, we'll wire it up, and I did go ahead and measure my axles like I said before, so I did go ahead and measure for my axles so I can go ahead and get them sent off and to Dutchman up in Idaho, I think it is, or Indiana, I don't know, somewhere up in there. I got to send some axles up there, so that's going to be pretty that's going to be a little pricey, but it is what it is. So we'll get the axles back. Hopefully by then I can have a plan developed for drive shafts and get the drivetrain complete, and then we'll be ready to fire up this engine, and we'll be ready to do just a little systems test, and we'll go from there and rebuild this thing, and we'll go from there and get this thing rolling. Once I do a systems test, make sure everything's good, I'm gonna blow it apart. I know I've said it before and it's not like a broken record, but that's the plan. Just want to keep going with that plan. All right, so I kind of quickly just kind of threw together the round stock here. I happened to find a piece that was long enough that I could bend and play with, and I just needed to do it off camera just to get the mindset in it. I know it's simple, but I was just trying to think about it for a minute and just talking through myself, which is what I'm doing now, by the way. But anyway, I went ahead and welded it, and that's going to be my structure there for the engine cover. I'm going to do another piece of round stock arch over the back end there real quick, and get that structure kind of just tied together. So I'll whip that up, that little arch, and we'll get that tacked in there. I may actually film it this time. So I'm just going through and taking my round stock here and hammering it in this little back side of the vise here, and kind of just walking it back and forth as I hit it to give me a gradual arch. I don't have one of those rolling arch making tools, so that's what I'm going to do with this. All right. If you do it slow, and you can get a pretty uniform curve out of it. So I'm gonna take it to the car real quick and test it out. And let's see what we got here. I'm gonna get this fuel line out of the way. Actually, looks pretty good. I'm gonna cut the ends off on mark it real quick. And magically, I got it ground down and pretty good. May flatten that out a little bit. It's got too much arch in it, just a touch. All right, so didn't have my tripod handy, but got it. You kind of get the gist. Welded my arch there, and it looks really cool. So now I've got a pretty good little base for my engine cover. And what I'll do is make little tabs underneath the edge of this radiator support. It'll probably just sit on a rubber tab and bolt to the engine, the cover will. That way it'll kind of rock and float. Won't have to worry about rubbing paint or anything like that. A few little tweaks in here in it to do, but I think overall it's what I want. I can modify a lot of that with the fiberglass and the filler that I put on it. I know putting tape on there, it helped a little bit with the splatter. I didn't want to burn through too much filler. I can touch it up. I still got some work to do anyway, but I think that's pretty cool actually. I may do another support across the top just to kind of give it some shape.
Kind of start to get a little visual of how
I think overall
the engine cover is going to shape up. It does come up over the throttle body there a little bit, bumps into that, so I just want to make sure I got room for that to clear, and it's going to cover over the coils and all that. I made a little support there in the middle to kind of help finalize the shape, and we'll go through and probably, like I said, make that out of fiberglass, and that'll help me practice working with fiberglass. I haven't done it in a while. Help me get to where I feel comfortable working on the headliner. So I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out, and we'll get it covered and we'll go from there. So I have a couple pieces of trim that came from a Falcon of some sort. I'm really not sure where it came from, but it's just two simple little bird pieces, and I'll add those to the engine cover as well, just to keep it not just a painted blob, but give it a little something just to add to it and make it look a little better. I think it'll look really good. It'll keep it nice and clean and simple, and cover up what I want to cover up, and you won't be able to see down there in the radiator and all that, and see the alternator and AC pump. And it'll help hide some wires and some plumbing that I don't want to see. So overall, it's mainly there to clean the engine up, clean the engine compartment up, and keep it nice and simple.
So that's going to be a wrap for this week's video. I know, like I said before, earlier on, I've just had a lot going on and hadn't had time to video. So not a lot of progress. It's been not a lot of visual changes, but a lot of little changes help kick the can on down the road some. And, it's part of the process, and it has to be done. So appreciate you guys coming along and watching, and make sure you subscribe and like and share, and and keep it rolling. We'll see you next time.